Last stream, I talked about the Uhuru movement in depth, and I talked about why they are being sent to jail right now. And I looked at Jackson Hinkle talking about this and dismissing the reasons why they are going to jail, which is taking Russian money. I just have to assume Jackson Hinkle is a bit scared of going to jail himself over taking Russian money. I have no proof of this. I'm just asking questions here. I'm just putting out my thoughts. Jackson Hinkle is probably a bit scared. Let's see how the people over at Jimmy Dore, I don't think it's Jimmy Dore himself. No, it's Aaron Mate. Let's see how he handles the Uhuru movement going to jail over this.
I'm Aaron Mate, sitting in for Jimmy, here with me, Chapolin, and Americans comedian Kurt Metzger. And we are joined now by Nick Cruz. He is co-host and co-founder of the Revolutionary Blackout Network. Nick, welcome back to the Jimmy Dore Show.
Oh, socialist MMA. What a lol cow. Socialist MMA. This guy is such a lol cow. Wait, what? Get it yet? Get what yet?
Shout out to my fellow radicals in the United States who believe crazy.
Bro, we do not claim you. Like, you betrayed the railroad workers.
Okay. We do not claim you. You don't get to claim someone like that. Come on, give me... that boy, Bernie Sanders, couldn't wait to endorse Biden and kill Marianne Williamson's campaign. He is... Again, why are you hinging all your hope on one person? Why are you doing that? Okay, it's just going to be bad-mouthing shit. Okay, he's a lol cow.
Hey, what's poppin', my friends?
Good to see you. So here is the announcement from the Justice Department. U.S. citizens and Russian intelligence officers charged with conspiring to use U.S. citizens as illegal agents of the Russian government. Defendants sought to sow discord, spread pro-Russia propaganda, and interfere in elections within the U.S. And here's a headline about this from the Washington Post. Federal authorities charged 4 Americans Tuesday with roles in a malign campaign pushing pro-Kremlin propaganda in Florida and Missouri, expanding a case that charged a Russian operative with running illegal influence agents within the U.S.
How much do you want to bet that they're either... okay, there are 3 options here. They're either going to gloss over the fact that they took money from Russia to do this, and they funneled that money into pro-Russia candidates. They're going to ignore the money component entirely, or they're going to say it's a good thing. I think the third one is the least likely. At best, they're just going to gloss over it. At worst, maybe most likely, they're going to ignore it entirely.
And one of the people charged is a man named Omali Eshatella. He is 82 years old. He is the leader of a group called the African People's Socialist Party. They're a black leftist group. And what this indictment alleges is that they're essentially Russian agents. And this indictment is very long, and it goes through all these cases where members of the African People's Socialist Party spread what the indictment paints as pro-Kremlin propaganda. It's simply just criticism of U.S. foreign policy, especially in Ukraine, in fueling the proxy war in Ukraine.
So far, ignoring
blocking
it.
Diplomacy, and in arming neo-Nazi groups like the Azov Battalion. So that's what this indictment is targeting these black leftists for. And here is the chairman of the African People's Socialist Party, Omali Eshatella, speaking about a raid that happened on his home in conjunction with this case.
Uhuru, as it has been said, my name
Look at the... Oh my God, such a fucking LARPer.
Omali Eshatella. I'm chairman of the African People's Socialist Party and chairman of the Black is Back Coalition for Social Justice, Peace, and Reparations. On July 29th, at 5 o'clock in the morning, pre-dawn, an army of assault weapons toting, camouflage wearing military forces identifying themselves as the FBI attacked my home.
The hobo is apparently the leader of the Uhuru movement. Apparently. The chairman, I think they call him.
They use flashbang grenades, armored vehicles. They threatened my life and threatened my wife. They used drones. This was in St. Louis, Missouri, the most economically depressed sector of that city. At the same time, on the white...
Oh, like, again, we went over that in the last stream, and I put out a video on it even. So if you haven't watched that, do that as a primer to this video here.
Side of St. Louis, they attacked a movement, solidarity movement, and they used battering rams also there, knocked down doors. They held people hostage, handcuffed at gunpoint, as they did me and my wife, whom they handcuffed and zip-tied in front of our homes. They declared that despite the fact that I have been involved in fighting this system for most of the 81 years that I have been alive, despite the fact that I have opposed every predatory war that the United States, which, by the way, is the strategic enemy of all of humanity.
Oh my God. And look at this. Look at this. What do we have here? A Soviet hammer and sickle. Strange. Strange. How strange to see at one of these meetings.
Despite the fact that I have...
And by the way, opposing imperialists' war and opposing a support for your allies, those are not the same thing. I've opposed all the American wars during my lifetime. I have not seen a justification for. I've seen. Let's be real here. Let's be real for a moment. The Afghan war, completely avoidable. Go in with a special team, take out bin Laden. You're out. Okay. That was what they should have done, and they had the opportunity to take on bin Laden, but Dick Cheney decided against it. Why? Because taking out bin Laden would ruin the reason for the war. So they decided not to go after him. And it is said that bin Laden was praying to Allah that the Americans wouldn't find him. He was completely surrounded, apparently. And they knew that he was in the mountains there. And he prayed, and his prayer was fucking heard. So instead of doing a swift attack on the man that planned the attacks on America, they decided against it. Up until that point, they had justification. They wanted bin Laden. They didn't get bin Laden. They went in and they wanted to take bin Laden. Simple as that. I can understand that. I can justify it. Any other war they've done, I can't justify anything except for the funding of fucking Ukraine. The funding of Ukraine is not a war. It is a defensive alliance. It is helping your partners. It is the same as sending food and military equipment to the UK before you entered the war against Nazis. It is the exact same thing. Let's just hope we can avoid the world war this time.
Have always done that. That they have declared that black people are so stupid that it takes Russians to tell us that we are oppressed. I have never known a moment of black freedom for my entire life. I have never read of a moment since the beginning of a colonial mode of production where black people have been free. And yet they're saying that we are agents of some foreign power.
Let me bring in Nick
Did you
Cruz
take
of the
money from that
Revolutionary
foreign
Blackout
power?
Network. Nick, what do you make of this case?
I don't know about you, Aaron, but to me, it looked like he's guilty because he's sowing some major discord right there.
Since when are you not supposed to sow discord? Like the entire media is based on that.
Yes, you would think so.
Afghanistan was invaded by, as part of the Bush Doctrine, continuing of the Wolfowitz Doctrine, which sought to give America a greater platform for invading Iran and dominating the world. Yeah. I'm not like, okay. Let me clarify here. What I should have done, the more justifiable option, was what Obama did. Go in with a special operation, a small group of people targeting bin Laden's compound. I don't know if he lived in a compound back then or not. I've seen videos of him in the mountains, whatever. That's what they should have done. Of course they didn't, because they didn't want to get bin Laden. Bin Laden was a svepskäl, just a justification, just a hand-waving justification to go in, of course. What I'm saying is, going after bin Laden is a justified justification. Everything else they did is unjustified. Iran was never invaded, so the Afghanistan war just kind of fizzled out. Yeah. Until Chad Biden withdrew.
So based on the charge, based on what they said, man, he's sowing discord, so I guess he has to go to prison. So in all seriousness, you warned about this, Aaron, and I was warning my friends about Russiagate. That was before I had a platform, because to me, it was always obvious what the state planned to do with this power. This is not anything new. This is a long-term tradition. This is why I believe that the liberals and the Democratic establishment is extremely dangerous to Black lives. Because
okay, let's not have a NATO discussion at the moment. No, let's not have it at the moment. I support joining NATO, but yeah, of course, Libya is a shit show.
Because how did they get the state power and the political capital to do this? They said, well, you have Trump supporters who are friendly with Russia, so we're going to use the state to crack down on them. And then after manufacturing...
There's no talk at the moment. We've seen half this video. There's still not a mention of monetary, financial support to the Uhuru movement.
Consent and getting political capital by saying they're going to go after white supremacists, domestic terrorists, or other criminals. They then take state power and crack down on workers, Black people, indigenous people. That is a long-term trend. I remember after January 6th, where all the liberals lost their mind. Many people in the Bernie left
see that
I was a part of when I worked on the campaign.
Such a fucking lol cow. Yeah, he worked on Bernie's campaign. Of course he did. Yeah, Jan 6, where liberals lost their mind. No, we didn't. What? There was a fucking attack on democracy on January 6th. What the fuck are you talking about?
And they excommunicated me because I was laughing and saying January 6th was a joke, and this was a obvious power grab.
You know what else was a joke? Hitler's first coup attempt. Beer hall putsch was a fucking joke in Germany. I don't know if every coup starts this way, but it looks like every Nazi coup starts this way, at least.
Grab by the Democratic Party. And guess what the Capitol Police did about literally 1 week later, after the Democratic Party gave them unprecedented spying powers? They used that to spy on indigenous people who was protesting Line 3. You had all these oil companies that wanted to drill on indigenous land.
So are they not going to mention the money at all? I can't listen to this guy.
as someone who attended communist training school. Boogeyman in the state is not new, but it's still bone chilling to see that they are going this far with it.
And what do you make of the indictment basically trying to criminalize not just dissent, but just factual information? So, for example, this long indictment of these activists, it talks about how they said things like the U.S. is fueling a proxy war in Ukraine, is blocking diplomacy, that the U.S. is supporting a military that has neo-Nazis incorporated into its armed forces. These are all true things. And regardless of whether they're true or not, it's not criminal to have a dissenting opinion. But basically, according to the message of this indictment, is that, if you have a dissenting opinion on this, if you're vocal about it, you will get charged.
Yeah, I have...
Yeah. Okay. They're just gonna lie about it. Let's go to transcript. Cash. No. Finance. Nope. Nothing. They don't mention the money at all, because of course they don't. That breaks the whole narrative.